hide it from your parents. It's contraband. Don't like it. Well, it's just drugs, Mom and Dad. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Newest Olympian. My name is Mike Schubert. I'm the titular Newest Olympian. I'm a 33-year-old man who never read the Percy Jackson books as a kid. I read them as an adult because I was on a quest to determine if society had been sleeping on the series. And now I'm seeing if society is sleeping on the ongoing Disney Plus series. I don't think they are, given how much hype is around the show right now and how many different press opportunities and advertisements and people talking to me about it because they know me as the Percy Jackson guy. Real life non-Percy Jackson friends talking to me about it. And we are joined today by a very special guest, someone who you have heard on the podcast before, and I'm delighted to have her back. It's Gillian Blum, an entertainment journalist who covers Percy Jackson. Gillian, how's it going?
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me back.
I am so delighted to have you back on the show. I'm also delighted that this is a way to rectify the fact that I saw you at New York Comic Con, but was unable to talk to you.
New York Comic Con was hectic.
Wild. And I wasn't even doing any Percy Jackson stuff. I was just there for like a couple of podcasty things that were just more of like general podcasting. And then I did the thing where I saw you, which was doing roundtables for Jurassic World, only because my wife is obsessed with that show for the Jurassic World Chaos Theory. And we were there, but then I don't know if you had this situation, but that roundtable ended at whatever time it was, say like 6 o'clock. Like it was like a 5 to 6 thing. And then I had something that was 6 to 7 on like the entire opposite side of the Javits Center.
That always happens.
And you can't just like get to the other side of the Javits Center. You have to like go down 2 escalators, walk all the way down, go up 13 escalators, answer 3 riddles, go across a bridge.
And they're like the longest escalators you've ever been on.
So long. And there's so many like big hallways. And then when I was leaving that 6 to 7 thing, which I was trying to go to one of my friend's birthday parties, then I had to go down the giant escalators, but some other giant thing had also gotten out at 7 o'clock. So I'm behind like 7,000 people who got out of some screening or trailer or whatever. It was chaos.
Were you there the night that they did the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff?
I was there Saturday night.
Okay, I think that was Friday night. It was the last panel of the day, and it ended with Five Nights at Freddy's 2. The MatPat announcement happened.
Okay.
And they gave out free t-shirts.
Oh, maybe that's what I was there for. There were so many people.
It was so chaotic. I ran out of that room at full speed.
I did not enjoy being caught in the clump of people, but I did enjoy my time there. But we're here to talk not about New York Comic Con hecticness. We are here to talk about episode 4 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, a delightful episode.
Really good.
Have enjoyed every episode this season. I think they've gotten better with each episode? Question mark?
3 is my favorite. The writing in 3 is just really, really strong because I kept coming back to how funny 3 was.
Yes. Humor is back this season. I've been saying it every episode of TNO. I'm so stoked jokes are here.
And like 3 had my most anticipated scene, and it was but episode 4 had been hyped up for so long. Like that's the one that they've been saying like, oh, it's like a whole movie in one episode. Yeah. I mean, like the end especially, one of the biggest things I was talking about with people after the screeners went out was you can see that they have a budget.
Yes.
And it's episode 4 that proves it.
Yeah, episode 4, I was very excited for once I got the idea of what it was going to be, because when I was visiting set with the Percy Jackson podcasters, we had gotten there not too long after they had finished filming all of the Ironclad stuff, and all the kids just kept talking about how cool the giant boat set was and how they built out like a full real boat that
clearly
took up the entire wing of the production studio. And then what they also told me, which sounds very cool, is once they go into the whirlpool, once they get into Charybdis, the boat, they literally tilted it like 7 or 8 degrees, which doesn't sound like a lot, but is a significant incline.
I remember that around when they were filming that, someone had taken a picture and posted, they had to like close off a section of beach because of like smoke and explosions.
Oh my goodness.
Then the next day someone went and just started filming that part of the beach just to see what would happen eventually. There's a video somewhere of just giant gust of smoke.
Wild. Yeah. I was talking more of like the stuff in the actual set, but I guess they also probably did some like on location-y water beach stuff. I know they did something, but like all the kids just kept talking about it, and we had gotten there after they'd finished all that, and we were like, wow, this sounds really cool. Now they did show us some of the very recently completed footage when we got there, and they were like, this is what the Ironclad's going to look like. And they showed us basically the scene where Percy goes out and he kind of surfs the front of the boat, and Clarisse is on the gun and all that kind of stuff. And we were like, oh, that looks really cool. And they were talking about how they were just like shooting water at him and everything. So once I grasped what episode 4 was going to be about, I was like, okay, because I had heard the hype from the people on set. And then, yes, as we are doing for this recording, like we have screener access, we're able to see it earlier because we are distinguished members of the press. And I had heard from like some of the reporting, because this is a thing that people do. Like there's people who get the screeners and then start writing articles, and then they're up like within hours, and I'm just so baffled by it. But a lot of those articles were like episode 4 rips, and I was like, okay, cool. And then when I watched it in prep for my junket stuff, I agree, it's really good. It's very, very good.
I've been teasing this online a lot, and I think my legacy in this fandom is going to be teasing that one line in episode 4. It made me have to pause the episode and take a walk around my room to process.
Which line?
It only took me 2 days to see how special you are.
Oh, yeah, it was really good.
I was like,
a really good one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's really good. And we'll obviously get into everything. My thing is going to be more about Walker's insane way that he makes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But that's, the two things we're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I asked him about that in the junket. That was the first question.
I don't know if I'm actually going to do it. It's going to depend on vibes and timing, but I am quite possibly asking him tomorrow at the Paley Center. So you've been saying that fans have been reaching a little bit in their interpretations of Percabeth, then pull out that full scene. Explain yourself.
I mean, like, that's pretty good, and I'm sure he'll be a good sport about it. So before we get into the breakdown, like beat by beat, this is your second time on the show. So what cabin would you be in? This is our repeat guest question.
I have been back and forth forever between Athena and Apollo.
Okay.
I put out a poll on Twitter once because I was curious, and someone commented that the correct answer is none of the above and Iris, and that has thrown everything for a loop.
Whoa.
So now I'm between 3. I think I've always leaned a little bit Athena. I don't know for sure. So like,
if I was to vote, I would put you in Athena, because I feel like very thoughtful, very wise is how I would describe you. But Iris is a fun one given your journalistic messenger type role, especially since you are teasing things.
Yeah, it was a mind-blowing third option to add to that list.
Never considered it, and yet here we are. So let's get into this episode. Now, it starts with a flashback, and I know that you were keen in on this.
Yeah, it's like episode 4 starting with a flashback.
Yeah.
Where have I seen that before?
Both Gillian and the fine folks at Monster Donut helped me out, because I had forgotten the day in which our screener access expired. So I have watched this episode, what I normally do, because with the screeners, at least this time around, you got to watch it 5 times before it expired. And normally what I do is I'll watch it once, just like, I just want to be in the zone. I don't want to take any notes and stuff. Let me just watch it and enjoy it as much as I can with my email address watermarked across the entire screen.
Yeah.
Then the second time I watch it, I will watch it and just kind of like take little bullet point notes on my phone. Like I'm still looking at the screen the whole time and just like typing out little things. Then usually the third time I watch it, I will watch it with subtitles on and pausing it like every minute to like get everything down.
I don't think my screeners ever had subtitles for these.
Oh.
Because I kept checking.
This time around it did. I'm not sure. I don't remember for season 1. These it did.
Season 1 definitely didn't.
Okay.
Because I was very excited to look at the subtitles to see some character names.
Yeah. I feel like I remember that being a thing. But thankfully they did have them this time around. So then I would do that and then maybe watch it usually like a 4th time right before recording the episodes. Now I was not able to do that. So I reached out to you and the Monster Donut folks and I was like, can I see your notes to make sure I don't forget anything?
And as you saw in my notes, the way that I take notes is I'm always worried that if I try to watch it without taking notes, I'm going to forget something. So the way I do it is I text myself. I open up Slack and send myself texts. Mainly it's I'm going to send a screenshot of all of these texts to my best friend after I know that they've watched it. So it's what I'd be texting them.
That's good.
And it helps keep both like reactions and also important chronology moments for me. Mm-hmm. Especially because then what I mostly do with screeners is I find like what are people going to be Googling after this episode releases? And how can I answer that online in an article?
That's very smart. Yeah. Your notes looked like what mine on my second watch are like, which are just like the OMG and the how could you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich like this? Like those kind of things. So I felt kinship in your notes there. But yes, you had noted in your notes, as did the folks from Monster Donut, that episode 4 of season 1 had a flashback.
Yep.
I didn't pick up on that. I forgot about that. So we're getting a little flashback parallel, which is very fun. But it opens with them in the present, like coming across this hideout, and then it goes to the flashback, right? Like Annabeth is there in their current time.
And I'm also going to point out episode 3 started on the Oracle in both seasons.
Oh, yes. I'm interested to see how many parallels they keep doing. Like, will it be a 5 seasons of parallels thing?
Someone tweeted today, and I keep thinking about this, that in a new trailer for like the second half of the season that they released today, there's another Percabeth Cliff moment. And is theorizing that there's going to be one every season, which that would be really interesting.
Yeah, they're going to have to really get some cliffs involved.
I mean, like...
I feel like I could find a way to make it work every time.
Yeah, I mean, 3 is obvious, and 5, there are lots of options.
Yes, and then 4... something in the labyrinth.
They'll find something.
They'll find a spot in the labyrinth. There's always stuff. So Annabeth comes across some sort of like hideout, and this is, you know, the part in the book where they go to Virginia, right? And then it's
the Hydra in the book, which is notably, I think, like the first time they have taken out like a major monster.
Right, that they've like completely removed it.
I'm curious to see if they bring it in later, but I didn't see it in any of the end credits art, so I am not expecting it.
I don't think so, especially given that we will come across it soon, but we get the Monster Donut box of cereal,
Correct.
Which I believe is their way of saying, sorry,
we
had to delete some stuff.
We know.
And what's funny is, since I did visit set, I got to visit the prop room, which is wild, because they had just all of the props from the entire season in one room. And we saw the box of Monster Donut cereal, which of course very much intrigued all of us podcasters, since Emily and Phoebe's podcast is called Monster Donut. So we were really fascinated about like, how is the cereal coming into mix? How's that going to be there? And they didn't tell us explicitly, but they said, you know, maybe people need food along the journey. So we had no idea about it being a part of the flashback. Our guess was that they were packing stuff from camp to put in a backpack, and they grabbed a box of Monster Donut cereal. So for it to be part of the flashback, especially given that the flashback involves Luke, I felt very happy for the number 1 and number 2 Luke fans,
oh, yeah.
Emily and Phoebe from Monster Donut.
They really said those flashbacks are for them. And I think episode 4 is specifically special for them because there was a lot of stuff that I was like, they definitely pulled from their Black Sails experience for this.
Yes. The showrunners who created Black Sails, a show about pirates and boats and stuff, know how to make a pirates and boats and stuff show.
I wrote an article about that right after the renewal. I was like, hey, we've got a lot of people with a lot of nautical experience on board. They know what they're doing.
Yes. And I'm less clued into Black Sails, but I do know also there's apparently a relationship that's in that show that is mirroring a way that they're doing it in this show as well.
That's what I've been told too. I have not seen it in full yet. I've been researching it a little bit, and I'm gonna watch it when I have time. I do not have time.
That's also me. I remember thinking when Black Sails finally came to Netflix, I think it was right about the time my wife and I were having our kid, and I was like, oh, okay, I could watch it. And then we had the kid, and I was like, oh, time? Of course not.
I've spent this whole year going, I'm going to leave December and January as open as possible because it's going to be Percy Jackson times. I'm going to be so busy. And then decided to move in the middle of December.
Good luck. You can do it. I believe in you.
I am in my half-finished room right now.
I believe. So, in the sewers, we go into the flashbacks. And when they're in the flashbacks, we have just, gotta say, cute Luke and Annabeth moments. And I love what they have done to make Luke look younger. They basically give him a beanie and a hood and a wig to make him look younger. The hair is all on his face and stuff. I also did talk to Aryan in the premiere. Yeah, the bags are great. I talked to Aryan in the premiere, and he said, that they also did stuff to make him look younger in the flashback. Mainly, they just made his horns smaller.
Oh,
and
that's
they gave
cute.
Him I didn't even think about that.
Cute.
They gave him smaller horns and then like a scruffier hair wig. So he had like messier, slightly longer hair.
So now I'm interested to see if when we see Thalia later on, is she going to look older than how we see her? Yeah,
I wonder. I mean, I guess in theory, no, because she's frozen as the tree. So
this is something I've been thinking about all day today, which is like, has Annabeth spent the last several years treating Thalia as though she is dead? Or was there always a part of her that thought this could be reversible? Part of that is playing into, is she technically still growing and developing and alive as the tree? Or is it like a stasis?
I feel like the show is going to explore her more, which will be fun because I think we're going to get more of her, especially given that the actress is very talented and they're going to want to flesh it out. And as we see in this episode,
incredible casting.
Really good casting. Not only just from the perspective of acting, but also, in case people aren't aware, she was in a show with Lance Reddick, who played Zeus and unfortunately passed. And I believe in that show, she was cast as his daughter. So they have like that same dynamic, which is really cool.
Did you see? I think it was like the London premiere.
The London premiere,
that outfit, yeah,
she wore a pinstripe suit, looked similar to his, and then actually wore his tie that he wore in season 1, which is really cool. And then I was also fortunate enough to meet the wife of Lance. She was at the LA premiere. I got introduced to her by Suzanne Cryer, who played Echidna last season, and she introduced me to her. And they've done a really good job of keeping her in the production and like part of the family, and they're trying to honor Lance's memory as best they can. And that was part of the casting. And this was something that came up in one of the questions we asked the executive producers when the podcasters all had a roundtable at San Diego Comic-Con. So I want to say it was Monster Donut. So if people haven't heard this answer, go listen to their San Diego Comic-Con episode. But basically, the Thalia casting came about because they tried a bunch of people with their normal casting process and no one was really hitting it. And they decided they should go to London because they're trying to get a punk rock person. So like The Clash, let's go to London and get someone like proper punk. And then she came up, and at first I think they got the suggestion and they were like, oh, hey, she has this connection to Lance, blah, blah, blah. And I'm pretty sure the producers were worried about that because it's like, like if someone has some sort of connection, then sometimes they might not be as qualified. It just like feels like they should be the fit. And I think they were hesitant. And then she was so good that they were like, oh, now it's just even better. Like she's perfect and has this connection. Like this is exactly what we're looking for.
This episode made me just so absolutely excited for season 3 and Thalia and Percy's whole...
It's going to be good. Like them butting heads is going to be really fun. She showed to be like perfectly intense in this episode, and I think she's going to be great.
I'm absolutely obsessed with the episode 3 line of the if Thalia knew there was a way to take down Olympus, she'd do it in a second. Like I didn't go to the LA premiere because I'm based in New York, but the people over at MovieWeb had me help them out writing questions. And one of the questions that they asked on my behalf was, does Luke actually believe that, or was he trying to manipulate Annabeth and Percy in saying it? And he was like, oh, Luke absolutely believes it.
Ooh.
Didn't even hesitate in that response, which is interesting.
Who answered that question?
Charlie Bushnell.
Charlie, okay. Luke himself. Yeah.
Yes.
So in this flashback, we've got Annabeth being scared, Luke trying to make her feel better. So he digs into the box of Monster Donut cereal and pulls out a little charm, and he says it's quote from Calagia.
I have been wondering, when did Annabeth learn that is not a real thing, and how really crushed was she?
I would guess, knowing Annabeth, it would be day 1 at Camp Half-Blood, like first day of Greek class. She asks about Calagia,
and Luke is sitting there like, whoops.
Oh no, got embarrassed in class, and that was her villain origin story to become a huge nerd. Was that she got one thing wrong in class once. And in case anyone also doesn't know, this is a fun fact. The actor who's playing young Annabeth is Leah's cousin, which is really fun. That's really, really fun. And
she's so good.
She's great. And that's a very fortunate thing. She does convincingly look like a younger Leah. It fits.
I also love calling her Babybeth.
Babybeth. That's good. That's good. We've got Baby Percy from season 1. Now Babybeth in season 2. Very, very fun. Very fun. So yes, Luke says that the bracelet is from Calagia, goddess of stealth. You hide while wearing this, monsters can't find you. And then Annabeth smiles and hugs him.
Invisible cap foreshadowing, I have to say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the first quote unquote magical item that she gets. And as the episode goes, you wonder. The
thing that she gets. I have a theory because they were saying rainbow in relation to it. The hippocampy are in the credits art. So I refuse to believe that we are not seeing that. I think it's the hippocampy keep bringing it back onto the boat.
That's what I think
it
is
too. I don't think it's the bracelet itself. I think it's that some other force is using that to send a message.
Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but I think it's pretty clear that that's what it is, especially because Tyson has that line later on where he says, that he was playing with Rainbow.
Yeah, the way they showed it with it being the wave that kept bringing it back.
Yeah, I think it was intentionally the show you're supposed to think, whoa, is this a magic bracelet? And then if you're a reader, you're clued in, like, I know what's going on.
Like, I definitely was like, it's not a magic bracelet. But when he said rainbow, I was like,
Yeah.
Because I know there are a lot of people on the internet that are really upset because they think that despite the credits art, they're like, oh, they completely cut rainbow.
Just because they took the rainbow raft. The other thing, and I know that I'm in a different position and I'm a patient person and I'm older and I'm less tied to the nostalgia of stuff. And also I usually get the episodes 4 at a time where I can watch them all. But like, I don't understand getting mad about a show before the season ends. Like, just wait until episode 8, because what if they move stuff around?
Right. And that's even why I'm saying, like, I think they cut the Hydra, but maybe they didn't.
Yeah. The reason I think they did is the box of Monster Donut cereal, I think it's an apology box. I think it is I am so sorry. It's not going to be here. This is the closest you're going to get.
Yeah. I love to use the credits art as a, like, here's a promise of what's coming, and there is no Hydra.
I think that's why they do it that way. Like, to make you know what's up and checklist.
I also love the idea of it being just, like, putting it around a vase, and it's, like, mythology.
They should do that. They should sell vases of, like, the credits across the whole thing. I'm literally
staring at the season 1 thing that I have sitting on my desk waiting to be hung up as I'm putting my room together. Not
to be snooty, I was able to attend both of the premieres. And in the second one, they did not give out the little, like, pretty prints.
I had fully expected they were going to. And I was like, I'm going to be so sad if, like, I managed to get, like, all but one or something like that.
Oh, that would stink. Yeah. You get to go to 4 of the 5 premieres.
To be clear, I'd be very lucky to go to literally anything.
100%. Yes. So grateful. So wild that we've been able to go. It's so fun. But yeah, the party gift this time was a tote bag and a t-shirt. The t-shirt, which you can buy online now. Like, it's part of the official merch store. So, like, no one's missing out. It's a cool t-shirt. It's very soft. It has little logos for all the cabins. It's fun. But you can also get one. Cute. They're not paying me to say this. But yeah, you've truly not missed out. Like, if you really want the gift, you can get the gift.
No, I was surprised when I didn't see anybody posting the credits art.
Look, now you won't have to have the FOMO. It's all good. It's all good. So we get Thalia's first line as she shows up. She says, "Luke, they found us." And that's making things scary, especially because Luke was just trying to console Annabeth that everything's going to be okay. Then she says, "Positions now." And then they take position to fend off the beasts. Thalia is in front with her spear ready to go. And then Luke is behind them with some sort of, like, sword type thing.
Yeah, so I reread Diary of Luke Castellan for the first time in a very long time, like a week ago for an article. And I had totally not remembered that in the books he uses a golf club.
Yes, he does. I want to say a 9-iron specifically. I think it's a 9-iron. Yeah.
So where is this sword coming from?
Does he not get it at the end of that story? Like, he goes in with a golf club and then it breaks. I think he might leave with it, because I think I remember being like, oh, he comes out with the blade. So, like, what he has could be the blade before he gives her the blade. I do know Craig Silverstein at San Diego Comic-Con said that they very intentionally sourced information for the flashback from the Demigod Diaries. Like, it was a very intentional thing, which I think is very fun, because the Demigod Diaries had the first instance of, are Luke and Thalia maybe a potential romance kind of thing? Like, that was the first time that was something that came across my radar.
I was writing too.
Yeah, so I think if that comes into play in the show, it'll be interesting, especially given that I think the show is...
I sourced Monster Donut in that article, and I sent them a screenshot of it, and they were like, I love that our legacy forever is now going to be cemented as an official source for Thaluke.
That's so good. That's so great. Yeah, I can only hope that I get questions in season 3 if they have a basketball scene, if they do the Phoebe basketball court fight, if people, reach out to me, hey, how's the basketball? That's all I can hope for. But I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of lean into the Luke Thalia, what's going on there, given that they have seemingly moved away from the Annabeth Luke, what's going on there, which I think is smart.
This has been another interesting fandom conversation that I've seen of we're now going to be convincing an entire generation of fans that it's always been this way.
I'm down for that.
Me too. I've always been uncomfortable with the Annabeth Luke. I was thrilled the first time that the show made it clear they weren't doing it.
Yeah. I have always been okay with Annabeth having a crush on Luke because I think it makes complete sense.
Yes.
Older mentor, camp counselor vibe, like that's such a normal thing.
Celebrity crush style.
Yeah. And I never felt weird about it reading the book. It was literally just at the end of 5 when Luke asks, "Did you love me?" Then I was like, oh no.
Feels like something she'd never act on.
Right.
It's more of an idolization.
100%. And it also, to me, the whole time I was like, this is a thing where the younger person is the crush on the older person. And Luke is mature enough to know that he shouldn't have those feelings. And I think that also kind of made the Annabeth always cutting him slack thing more believable because it's like, of course, she's younger and naive. But then when he did the whole, "Do you love me?" I was like, oh, this stinks. So the fact that this season has been pretty heavy with the "we're family, you're my brother, you're my sister," same thing in season 1, that gives me hope.
It might not be the first flashback. It might be the second. But there's that one line of, "Your family now, we take care of our own." And I immediately just went, "Family Luke, you promised."
Very good. Is this the flashback where Thalia enters by like breaking through a window and like doing a cool hero landing?
Because she's like the coolest person ever in this episode.
I'm pretty sure like her entrance was like
like
jumping through and being all intense. I think that's what it was.
Glass breaking, superhero pose.
Really good stuff. Big spear. And what was funny was when she first landed, I was like, she looks old. I was like, oh, right. She's looking like she's going to have to look when she comes back as Tree. So it was kind of funny that the only person who wasn't the same actor was Leah. But like, I get it because I think aging up from a younger age is way more drastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's always like that meme when the guy talking about how much his baby grew from 0 to 6 months and then saying it's like when they're 18, they will be, 5 miles tall or whatever.
I love that one.
Classic one. As a father now, it's great because they grow so quickly. It's wild. It's so wild. And it just really sneaks up on you. Usually when you try and put them in an outfit and you're like, how does this not fit you anymore? What are you talking about? You must have grown. So then they're getting ready. They're fighting things off. And Grover shows up as well. He comes in explaining that he's Annabeth's protector. He does not explain what Camp Half-Blood is, but he does say that if Annabeth comes with him, he can keep her safe. And we're getting this little back and forth where it doesn't seem like Thalia and Luke are down for that. But
it also sounds like they maybe know something about Camp.
Right.
And that maybe don't trust it.
I think so. So we cut back from this flashback to the beach.
The scene that I've been calling the brothers of all time.
The brothers of all time. Yeah, because this is where Tyson's talking to Percy and kind of coming to grips with what Annabeth said about him, about the Great Prophecy. And he's saying that he doesn't think that Percy could ever be evil or a weapon. And Percy's trying to assure Tyson that, prophecies can always be kind of vague. You never really know what's going down.
I've been thinking a lot about how this show deals with fate, especially Annabeth's relationship with it, because Annabeth keeps being the one. I rewatched some of season 1 recently too, who's reminding everyone that prophecies make no sense. Prophecies never are what they seem. And I had a brain-bending realization today of that adds a new layer to why she sees Rachel as so threatening.
Oh, interesting.
I really, really hope that they continue with this, Annabeth is so logical and thinking 6 steps ahead logically and can't fathom prophecies ever being literal. I want this to keep going because I think there's a lot of potential here.
I like that. That's a really good theory, especially given how they approach it in episode 3. I think that would make sense. And it would fit, right? The planning person not liking the thing you can never really truly plan around because you never know what it really means.
And that brings up the Percy Annabeth conversation that's so freaking good.
Yeah. So Annabeth is out getting supplies. She comes back basically empty-handed. And then Clarisse appears and she blows up their escape boat, which I was not expecting at all. And she's coming in hot.
She comes in with a bang.
Comes in hot.
And comes in insulting Percy.
Yeah, as she should.
As she should.
What's great is that they get rid of Clarisse blowing up the Hydra and that being her introduction, and instead it's just blowing up their boat and demanding. So it's this fun thing where we're still getting this Clarisse thing, and she's arguably more angry and upset than she was in the book. Like, she's coming in even hotter.
Yeah.
So she comes in and is demanding the coordinates to the Sea of Monsters. And then our team flips the script on her, saying that they will give them the coordinates if she takes them with her crew. So I think that's fun. And especially as a reader, we know they're going to have to get there together. So when I was watching this, I was like, oh, that's an interesting way where, you know, we don't have the Hydra. We have this like sneaky negotiation, bringing the two quests together.
And then Annabeth going and just
really
ending
good.
each one individually so that then they become invaluable. Incredible.
It's really smart. So yeah, Clarisse basically reveals that she has gotten to know her crew better, which is cool. I like the growth of Clarisse. I'm really interested of how it goes.
I love also the Clarisse Percy heart-to-heart scene a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. And look, I'm a huge Clarisse truther. I really wanted Clarisse to be done better in the books. I did not like the Achilles allegory thing. I thought she had slow and steady growth. And then in book 5, they were like, what if we just made her something that she hasn't been? So I think the show can be like what I was hoping for Clarisse. Like, I was hoping not enemies to lovers, but like enemies to friends was what I was hoping the arc of Clarisse and Percy would be. And we got so close. So I think the show like might do it, which will be really cool.
Do you feel like they're going to justify the Achilles stuff or outshine it?
I think they will find a way to still get it in there, but my hope, because I feel like people will be too upset if they don't do that. Yeah. Mainly, like, I'm not trying to knock the Selena Clarisse stuff. What it really was her not taking part in the fight just because of the chariot thing, I thought was so ridiculous.
Fair.
I thought that was so ridiculous. That could be a book 1 or book 2 Clarisse thing, but that was not, in my mind, a book 5, especially given the Demigod Files side story with Clarisse and Percy. So I could just see them finding either a different reason or more justifying the chariot, and that making it okay. And I feel like they're going to keep the Selena stuff in there because I know people are like too stoked about what the Clarisse Selena implications could be. And I'm so down for that. So down for that. I just don't like the chariot thing.
I wrote an article about that a year and a half ago at this point when I talked to Dior Goodjohn about that. And the reaction to that was a lot.
Yeah, look, I know Dior is so passionate about Clarisse. She's done so much research, reading all the stuff, looking at what fans are saying on Riordan Wiki, all that kind of stuff. I think she will champion for a better adaptation of Clarisse.
Oh, yeah. And this episode proves it.
Yes.
Because this is a much deeper Clarisse than we're seeing in the books at this point.
Yeah, it's good.
And maybe that's just because of the general perspective things of we're not seeing the perspective of the person who she keeps insulting as playfully as some of that may be.
Totally. I think it's just nature of it being a third person show. We can see more of it. And that's a question that I asked her when I did the press junket stuff, and you'll all get to hear it in the next bonus episode. So stay tuned for Monday's bonus episode where I have a question where I asked her what it was like to, play a character that we get to see more dynamism from than we did in the book. She's closer to her crew. This is great.
She's also feeding them false promises, which is super interesting, given what we know will be happening with Ares and disappointment and false promises.
It's very, very interesting. So what we come to the agreement here is that Clarisse and Percy are going to fight, and the fight will determine if they come along or not. And Percy, just like he did with Ares, wants it to be single combat, which is fun. And he is fighting Clarisse. It's like a fun fight to start.
It's
really
a
cool
fun
to see
fight.
The stunts. I was really excited because I don't think the fight between the two of them happens in the books.
I don't think so either.
So this was a fun new thing for me to witness. And then you get, as you had referenced, Annabeth sneaking invisibly, knocking off the dudes one by one. And at first when it started happening, I didn't know what was going on. Like, it took me until the second guy moved to dust that I was like, dust? Oh, they're monsters. Oh, they're getting defeated. Annabeth. Like, it was a great, like, piece by piece realization for me. And I think it's really smart. And again, this is like one of those things where it's not in the books, but it's such an Annabeth thing that it feels perfectly on brand.
It's such an Annabeth thing. And I will always go back to, this is the benefit of having the author on the writing team.
100%.
Anything new that you add is still going to be so in character, and it's almost like a deleted scene from the book.
Right. And that's what I think is fun about an adaptation is we're getting the story told a slightly different way, but the core beats are still there. Yep. And it's fun to almost have like the alternate universe of like, what if it happens slightly differently?
I always bring that up when I talk about Lotus Casino in season 1, that as much as it was not the same as the book, I will argue forever and die on the hill of it was authentic.
Yes.
It wasn't accurate to the books, but it was authentic to the books. And that's the only thing that I care about.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's fun. Like adaptations let us see and do different things. You don't just have to do a copy paste of the book. What's the point of adapting it if you change nothing? So she kills them off, and we get this great thing where Clarisse goes, "You killed them?" And the quote thrown back at her is, "They were already dead, so not really."
Which then actually becomes important later in the episode, too, when they're talking about the morality of having Scylla and Charybdis pick them off, and if that's any better than...
Yeah. Percy's very ruthless about it. He has no sympathy for these people, but Clarisse views it a little differently because of her Elysian promise. It's fun. It's a fun question mark of what is right, what is wrong.
And it goes back to the general, like, monsters are not necessarily monstrous and heroes are not necessarily heroic that the whole show has had that I think is just a fantastic through line.
Came up in season 1 with Medusas, come up in season 2 with Tyson, and Tyson mentioning Grover. It's a fun theme.
I realized on rewatch of season 1, after watching season 2, episodes 3 and 4, season 1, episode 4 becomes a million times better.
I'm intrigued. I feel like I need to rewatch season 1 now just for fun.
I had just put on episodes in the background as I was moving. I realized there were several lines in episode 4 of season 1, which I love episode 4 of season 1. It's kind of one of the more forgettable.
Is this the one they're on the train, like going to St. Louis?
Yeah. There are a lot of lines from Echidna that, like, are really, really important to some of the Tyson conversations that we're having now, which are really interesting. And I just couldn't not bring it up.
Yeah. I know from the interview that I did with Suzanne Cryer that the Echidna stuff was like more care than just a one episode approach was put in. So I'm not surprised. Like they viewed her, especially as the whole Mother of Monsters thing, given their approach to like, how are we viewing monsters, as being a really important thing that would take place, at least just like the idea behind it would have ripple effects across the whole season. So it completely makes sense of you to do that.
It was that moment of this thing that like, it was good in season 1, but I kind of overlooked it. Oh, this hits really, really different now.
And I've said this, I think season 1, I know, didn't get the most positive reviews. Like, people still liked it, but it definitely had its backlash.
Meanwhile, season 2, we are still at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, yeah, baby. Let's go. Still, as we record this on December 16th, I believe that season 1 is going to continue to age better as time goes on, as like a foundational laying the groundwork for the show kind of thing. I think people will appreciate it more and more, especially if we have things like this where it's like, oh, this established this parallel that they kept doing. This established this thing. Like, I think it's going to look better the more time passes. So I'm excited. Well, before we continue on the episode, let's take our mid-roll break, the sea of sponsors, and then we will return onto the Ironclad to continue our discussion of the episode. Hello and welcome to the Sea of Sponsors Texas edition. I'm coming to you from the childhood bedroom of Kelly's sister. As we were visiting Kelly's parents for the holidays, there are various knickknacks all across this desk. They are very cute, and we've got updates for the podcast for you. Speaking of cute things, ? So let's get into all those updates. First and foremost, Merry Percymas to all who celebrate. And if you think that this is a bad, lazy pun, clued in folks and British folks will know that I am making a reference to Percy Pigs, the greatest of the gummy candies, I would say, in the United Kingdom. And they do have a Christmas line of gummies where it's a little pig in a little Santa's hat, and they are called Merry Percymas. So Merry Percymas to all who celebrate, whether that means you are watching this episode on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, or if you just want to talk about celebrating the holiday season, or if you just want to celebrate eating a delicious bag of Percy Pigs. But there are important updates with the podcast going on, so let's talk about them. The most time pressing is that the Australia live shows start in less than 2 weeks, which is ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. So we are going to Australia starting in January. Got a show in Sydney on January 3rd, Perth on January 10th, Melbourne on January 17th, and Brisbane on January 24th. I also have confirmed a Wellington, New Zealand show on February 1st. That is a Sunday. I've set it to be an afternoon show. It's like a 2 p.m. matinee, so that if you need to travel for that show, it's a little more feasible. So if you need to, drive down, train down, ferry down, fly in, whatever it is, that just felt like it would give you the opportunity to get somewhere else in the evening. So I felt Sunday matinee was the most helpful for people travel-wise and such. And, I love a matinee. Let's have a matinee. So tickets to all of those shows are live at thenewsolympian.com/live. The Sydney show is over 80% sold out, so there's a chance we sell this one out. I think the other ones should be okay, but secure your tickets. And I believe all of the shows are all ages as well. I think even some of the venues, it's like a if you show up with your parent or guardian and you're under 18, that's chill venue. So I don't think there's any age restrictions on these shows. Come through. Would love to see you all there. I am working on adding an Auckland show and a Christchurch show. The Christchurch show is a bit more up in the air because the venue I was looking to perform with is not going to be open in January because they're trying to get more funding to put on more shows. But I have reached out to some other places. Auckland is looking more likely, and it's looking like it would be on Thursday, February 5th. But the venue I'm in talks with is closed for the holidays, so we can't get tickets and stuff up until the new year. But if you are in or near Auckland and you want to attend a show, just pencil in February 5th. That is most likely the date it would be. I've heard back from 2 total venues, and those 2 both said that Thursday the 5th would be the date. So if there is a show, that will be when the show is probably. I also am happy to announce what I believe the chapters will be for the first 4 shows, these Australia shows. So Sydney, we should be covering chapters 10 through 11 of The House of Hades. Perth would be chapters 12 through 14. Melbourne would be chapters 15 through 17. And Brisbane would be chapters 18 and 19. And then whatever the first New Zealand show is, whether that is Christchurch or Wellington, that would be chapters 20 to 21, and then we'll see from there. I also made a post detailing this on Instagram. It should be up maybe by the time you're hearing this, maybe within the next day or so, but I'm posting that up. I'm also announcing who our guests are for these shows. So for the shows in Sydney, Perth, and Melbourne, I will be joined by Polly Burridge, who is someone that you might recognize as being a longtime supporter of many of my shows. You may have also seen her incredible work on social media. She's made some really cool graphics and stuff. She's also made some of the past art and merchandise for the show. She made the Murder Hornet stickers for meddling adults. She made the Shut the F Up bird pins for Potterless. So lots of fun stuff there. But she is a podcaster, has an AFL podcast, and now she will be making her TNO debut for these 3 shows. And then in Brisbane, it will be the return of Sarah Barra, who you've heard in the past and also made a poster for TNO, did the Sydney show last year, and now will be doing the Brisbane show this year. So very excited about those shows, very excited about those guests. Get your tickets at thenewsolympian.com/live. Now, the other thing is that you will be hearing this at some point in the day on December 24th, depending on when I open this, if you're listening to this the day that it drops. Now, if you are listening to this on Christmas Eve and you're thinking, oh crap, I didn't get a gift in time, or whatever holiday it is, if there's some sort of holiday gift you need to get and you need something quick and inexpensive and something that you can deliver immediately, there's a lot of digital options in the TNO universe that you can do. The first thing is you can go to the Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/thenewsolympian, there's a couple of things you can do. First, you can get someone something from the shop. So we have things that are instant download from the shop. You can get past live show replays, including a show that we did in Gainesville, Florida, where Johnny and I ranked who is the best demigod that isn't Percy in the first 5 books. Then you've got the streams where we did the beginning of the Mark of Athena, the beginning of the Son of Neptune, the ending of the Mark of Athena with me live reading the moment, and then my Fast and Furious podcast with Eric Hamilton Schneider, The Last and the Curious. You also can go to thenewsolympian.com/merch, and then on the merch store, there are some digital downloads, including the first ever TNO live show video replay, a show that we did in Philadelphia, and then there's digital downloads like wallpapers and ringtones and text tones and a bunch of fun stuff like that. So those are all things that you can get and get immediately and send to people. You also can give someone a membership on Patreon. So if you go to the TNO Patreon, patreon.com/thenewsolympian, you can give someone a membership. Some of the patrons I will be shouting out later in this episode are on gift memberships. You can select what tier and what duration and figure out the price and all. And it's a really fun gift. And then people can, get in the Discord community and meet new people or listen to all the bonus episodes from years past and stuff like that. So lots of cool things that you can do there. And all of those things, you don't have to worry about shipping. You can get it immediately, send it via email or whatever, put it in a stocking stuffer, super duper simple. Do it as a white elephant gift. So many options, so many, many, many options. One note about this episode and the Patreon is that Gillian and I have not yet recorded our Patron 5. When we were recording this episode, I had to leave immediately after the recording and tend to a pressing matter. Everything's okay, but I had to hang up the recording and bolt out of there, so we didn't get to do it. So hopefully I will be able to hop on a call with her at some time, probably after the holidays settle, and then do a belated Patron 5. So that will be posted at some point. But the Patron 5 for Season 2, Episode 3 is up, and it's up as a video, on the Patreon. So all TNO patrons get access to me and Phoebe and Emily talking about our favorite elements and aspects of Episode 3. But I was mentioning the Patreon, so let's give a shout out to the folks who have joined the Patreon most recently. Shout out to our newest Mega God tier patron, Sherlin. Shout out to our newest God tier patron, Chloe Shaper. And shout out to our newest Demigod tier patrons, Lynn Muller, Gavin McFadden, and Meredith Roberts. Thank you all so much for your support. May Artemis bless you that if you are in a park in the woods, in a buggy part of the world, that the mosquitoes don't bother you. Goddess of the Hunt feels like she would be in charge of this kind of thing. Just let those bugs leave you alone. Now, if you're all caught up in the New Olympian and you're looking for some new content to consume, you are in luck because I make a whole bunch of stuff and there are a lot of good podcasts that I work on out in the world and I think you would enjoy them. One that I think you would very much enjoy is one that I've recorded 2 new episodes of within the past 2 weeks and they should be dropping early next year. It's a seasonal show I make called Meddling Adults. Meddling Adults is a podcast game show for charity. I'm the host. Guests compete to solve children's mysteries from classics like Encyclopedia Brown, Scooby-Doo, Shelby Woo, and more. The winner earns money for a charity if they're choosing. You can play along with the episodes and see how you stack up against the guests. And it's a real fun time. I've recorded some new episodes. Dr. Stephen Parra will be on a future episode. Some other people from YouTube fame will be on there. Someone from podcasting fame. I'm excited about the guests that we're getting. And those 2 recordings are really fun. And the new episodes will be dropping. So if you want to either get caught up or re-listen to some old ones and excitement for more season 5 episodes dropping, go listen to Meddling Adults wherever you get your podcasts by searching for Meddling Adults or by going to our website, meddlingadults.com. Now, unless you're listening on Patreon, where you get access to ad-free episodes, you're going to hear words from a few sponsors make it feasible for me to be a full-time podcaster. Some of those ads will be read by me. Others of them won't be. The ones that aren't read by me are inserted locally. So if you live in Mauritius, don't be surprised if you hear an ad in English. But I guess with just more East African relevant ads, English is listed as the official language. But once those ads are complete, we'll get back into this episode of The New Olympian. And we're back. We are on the Ironclad. We are cutting now to Percy and Clarisse on the boat. And what's fantastic, I did know this from going to set, but they are utilizing Clarisse's Mythomagic set to mark points on the map.
Every time we've gotten a Mythomagic anything, it makes me smile so much.
It's really good. So if you couldn't tell from the little figurines, in the back, you can see a little leather or wooden, I think a little carrying case of stuff. And you can see O Magic. Like myth is covered up by something else, but you can see O Magic.
Oh, the Nico of it all.
That's great. So when we were in the prop room at set, we saw this very intricate Mythomagic case, and all of us were like, what is this doing in the season 2 prop room? And Craig Silverstein, one of the EPs, is a huge D&D guy. So this was kind of one of his things that he got really passionate about. And I asked him about this in my junket stuff, so you can hear that in Monday's episode. But basically, they have worked with game designers to fully craft out a Mythomagic game that works and has rules and everything.
Wait, that's amazing.
Yeah, like they made the whole thing. There's nothing set that there's going to be a game that comes out that is at least something where like the door is open, but it's not like happening. I'm not trying to like break news that Mythomagic is a game you can buy soon, but it was like created for the show in a way that like that's a possibility. But the whole set, like they made a full set. Like it's got a box, so cool. It's got cards. There's a bunch of cards. There's unique art and descriptions and everything on the cards. Like they look like legit Magic the Gathering cards, and they have all these figurines. But yeah, I was super stoked about it. Talked to Craig about it a bunch on set and then at the junket stuff. But I mean, if they're doing all this Mythomagic stuff before season 3, I can't even imagine when Nico's actually doing it. Baby. And I have hope, like they might do it. They've been upping up the merch game and stuff. Like there's much more official merch this time around. So like, do we get a Mythomagic set? We might.
That would be really cool. I've also been remembering that detail from season 1 that Grover purposefully had Percy playing Mythomagic to train him to recognize monsters moving forward. And I've always been wondering, is that like typical satyr practice? Like, is that for a lot of people?
Interesting. Or is it just Grover?
Ooh, yeah. So fun. I feel like there's more we're going to get with it. And I hope there is.
I hope so too. So anyway, back to the show. They're using Clarisse's Mythomagic set to mark points on the map, and Percy has to be corrected on his pronunciation of Charybdis, which is very fun. You know, he has a little line that's basically like the name that I definitely know. Like, I like that they're still getting in a little bit of his, you know, ADHD, dyslexia stuff in there. It's not as direct as I think it could be, but, you know, it's still in there from time to time.
I'm holding out hope for a hubris hummus.
Oh my gosh, right.
I'm holding out hope.
God, look, it's possible. It is so possible. So Clarisse now feels like she has a responsibility to her crew. She has promised them Elysium. She feels like she owes it to them. And I like her trying to be a more responsible leader, opens up this whole endeavor with, I don't want to bring anyone along with me because they'd be deadweight, to now feeling some protection over her team. I think it's good. It's fun growth.
And it's interesting too, because I know that within the next few episodes, we are likely going to be talking about Percy's fatal flaw of loyalty.
Mm.
And I think that him being the one to say they're already dead, we can leave them behind, is super interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So we have the three of them kind of arguing about the plan. And in the scene, do they establish what the plan is yet, or are they just vague about it? I can't remember.
I think they establish there are two plans. Annabeth plan and the Clarisse plan.
Right. The Clarisse plan is try and go directly and attack the monsters, because she does have a good line of we don't run away from monsters, we attack them. And then Annabeth is more, well, Jason from the Argonauts did this and it worked. You just got to sacrifice some men. And then Clarisse is like, I don't want to. And Percy's like, who cares? They're dead.
And there's a great line that I refuse to believe is not a callback. Percy goes, your plan's going to work. And Annabeth's like, how do you know? And he says, because it's yours. That goes back to Luke saying, I will always take Annabeth's side. No matter what it is, hers always.
Very good, very good. Yeah, the line before that is Percy saying, it's the right choice, she'll see that. And then Annabeth asks, how do you know that it's the right choice? And he says, because it's yours, which is great. So now we get the second flashback. And Grover establishes that they're in a satyr hideout, and as long as she stays inside the circle of the trees, the monsters won't find them.
Which also goes back to the satyr paths that were discussed in season 1, and I hope that we continue to learn more about a lot.
We're getting good satyr stuff in the show. It's fun. So they did go along with Grover, which is good, since they were not super jazzed about it. And the further proof of them not being jazzed about it is when they're talking about Camp Half-Blood. They're really grumpy about it. Was it Luke or Thaluke who says, all we have to do is join Cult Half-Blood? I don't remember. I think that feels like a Luke line.
I think it was Luke.
Yeah, it feels like a Luke
I think line. I went, oh, Luke, Cult, stop.
That's pretty good.
You're one to talk.
Yeah, right. So Thalia explains, quote, Luke and your camp have history, which I think is very interesting. I'm guessing that's a May reference.
That's my assumption too, especially now that we know that Sally gets demigod dreams.
Right.
And that they're establishing seers as a concept this early. I think it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're leaning into it, given season 1, they already kind of did some of the May stuff. And now season 2, I think
which was one of the biggest surprises for me in season 1. I was like, they dropped that early? That's cool.
I'm glad they did. That always to me felt like a Rick, if I could do this again, I would type of move. And it does feel like they're playing up Sally's seer ability. So I think that they're going to really be focusing on that with her, probably with Rachel Elizabeth Dare, definitely with May, and making it feel like May is less of an anomaly and more like this is a thing that happens. So I think that's really fun.
Like, if you're a mortal who can see through the mist, this is why.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what the Luke and the camp history thing is. And then Thalia continues, and I don't want anything to do with my father's world. So the two of them clearly have this apprehension.
Which is also interesting, given her walking around with gifts from her father. But
yeah, I don't want to have anything to do with my father's world, except I will use a spear from him and Aegis all of the time. Like, all right, yeah, talking a big game there, Thalia.
Also, though, that is the most Camp Half-Blood thing you could possibly do. You're cursing the gods with their own weapons.
So at this point, the plan, at least for Thalia and Luke, is that they will be taking Annabeth and not having Grover join them. They're thanking him for his nature protection here, but they don't plan on going to camp. But then Annabeth sneaks away. This is where we can see her wearing a Yankee sweater, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That made
delighted
me
about this.
Especially because, again, it's her sneaking away. I love it.
Yeah, she sneaks away. And I was really excited with the Yankee sweater because now I'm wondering, are they giving lore to the Yankees hat? Like, did Athena pick Yankees hat because she's a Yankees fan? Like, that's an interesting thing to me. Is it just like she's, wearing a sweater? But given that she's supposed to be from Virginia, it's not like it's just like a random New York sweater. Like, it feels like maybe there's a reason why it's a Yankees hat, aside from them being the greatest sports organization in the world. It's just one of those things.
I have to bring up the fact that my entire family is from New England.
Oh, ooh. That's unfortunate.
I'm living in New York now, though, so that's like...
Look, there's all sorts of arguments Yankees and Red Sox fans can happen. The Yankees have won more World Series overall. The Red Sox have won more recently. But all I'm going to say is that this past season in the playoffs, the Yankees and the Red Sox faced off. The Yankees won. The Red Sox didn't. And I was in attendance in one of the games, and I was very happy about it.
I don't know anything about sports, but I always feel I should mention my entire family is from New England. Like, when I got a little sticker pack with a bunch of Percy Jackson stickers, I was never sure what to do with the Yankees cap sticker. I was like...
Hide it from your parents. It's contraband. Don't think, well, it's just drugs, Mom and Dad. Don't worry about it.
When I started at a job at one point, I was sharing a desk with someone, and they had a little Yankees logo doll thing on their desk. I turned it around and had it face the corner, and I sent a picture to my parents.
Like, I get it. You got to make Mom and Dad proud. So Annabeth sneaks away, and then she like throws the bracelet. So we now got back to Percy and Tyson, and they're having another great conversation. Tyson explains to Percy that he's never been on a boat before Monday, and now he's been on 4. Like, I just love the cute little Tyson moments.
Daniel Deemer as Tyson is the best casting in the entire show.
It's really good. He's awesome. Obviously, the physicality makes sense. I also think the personality makes sense.
There's a like earnestness and sense of wonder that is captured so well.
He's also just like a very talented actor. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's got the craft. I also just think this is one of those intangible things, but him being in his late 20s, I think is good for the crew of kids. Like, I think that in terms of like the production, they're always very intentional. Like, they treat these kids well. Their parents are all great and all around. Shout out to Nicole Bushnell, who talked to me at the premiere, said she listens to the New Olympian. Nicole, thank you so much. So great to meet you. And you gave great parenting advice as well. I really appreciate it. But like, the parents are super into it. Andrew, their acting coach, is really intentional about making sure that their acting stuff and their life stuff is all together. And I think that the kids having such a good older mentor who's not that much older than them, you know, they've got some people in their early 20s, they got people in their late teens. I think him being there is just like great because he's such a good egg, and I think he's a really good influence on them as well.
I'm meeting him tomorrow. I'm excited.
He's so nice. He's the only
person I'm seeing tomorrow who I haven't met yet.
He's great. And he loves to answer like super in the weeds, nerdy craft stuff. So Percy now does his whole thing where he recognizes that he has the nautical powers. And I'm glad that they still kept the scene in. I was worried that it wasn't going to be in there, since in episode 1, it was like, map, I know where the Sea of Monsters is. We've just now got him like understanding it. I'm also intrigued. I had said this in an earlier episode of TNO, that the coordinate situation is weird. Like, what's going on with the coordinates right now is strange, because Tantalus said wrong coordinates. Clarisse said wrong coordinates that were different than Tantalus's wrong coordinates.
Oh, I don't think I noticed that.
Yeah, so Tantalus only messed up the second of the 4 numbers, which means he was only slightly wrong. Clarisse changed the first 2 numbers, which means hers are like drastically different. But as I pointed out in the episode, the place that she did is still in the middle of the ocean. It's not in New Jersey like her captain or whatever guy in her crew said it was.
Interesting.
So because of that, either the show has made some mistakes with coordinates, which I don't think they would do. I feel like they're not going to make that sort of mistake. So I'm curious if it's just like the Sea of Monsters just messes with anyone who tries to do coordinates on it at all that is not a son of Poseidon.
And like that adds up with the Bermuda Triangle of it all.
Right. So I'm wondering if that's going to come into play, but I'm glad that they still have the Percy thing. And it's such a fun realization for him, because it's the thing where he's talking and he has no idea. Like, it was really good delivery from Walker, because he's like saying, oh, you know, we're traveling this far, this many knots, we're going this fast, you know, we're here, blah, blah, blah. And then he like, you can see him like his facial expression catch up as his words keep going. And then it catches up and he's like, how
I just
do
said a
I know
bunch
that?
of stuff. That's one of those moments too from the book that I've like always remembered. Like, I read the books for the first time when I was pretty little, and then it was years later that I reread them in full. And that was one of the moments that for some reason just totally stuck with me, because I thought that was such a cool little detail.
Right. I always thought when I read it that it was a little goofy and hokey, but I think the way that it's done in the show, for him to kind of be like talking and not really knowing, but getting it right, I think is legit. And this reminds me of a time when I was doing my engineering degree at Rice. There was a day where I had like gotten back from a leadership retreat thing, and it was, you know, this full weekend thing, got like no sleep. So I came back and then slept, I think for like 14 to 16 like straight hours. And then I woke up and I had to do homework, and I met up with like my study group that I normally did. And I was definitely not the smartest person in this study group. Like Rice is such a hard school. I was very good in high school, and then I was like bottom quartile at Rice, which was very humbling. And I would do homework with these people who were much smarter than me. And there was one particular question that was coming up in an engineering problem set we were trying to do. And the smartest dude in our group was stumped. And I knew what was up. And he even asked me, like, how did you know that? And I was like, I don't know. Like, and I was just wondering, like, am I a super genius if I always slept 16 hours a night? Like, it's something that's completely inconceivable. But yeah, like, it was fun for Percy to have this sort of out-of-body experience. I've been like, I've been there before. I know it. Like, sometimes it's just in there and you don't know how it gets out, but it just does.
I've also just always loved the things that are like, it's not quite a superpower, but it's like another reminder that they are half God. It's not that they're part God, it's they're half God. Half is a lot of a person.
Mm-hmm. Now, as the scene continues, this is where we get the Tyson line where he says he was just playing with Rainbow. And that is where, okay, you know, because I guess earlier in the episode, it was like the bracelet like washes onto the boat at some point, and then she throws it
She throws it, and then it comes immediately back, and we see that. Right. She doesn't find it, though. Then we see Tyson playing with it.
Yeah. And I also think when it does come back, you might be able to see like a spray of something in the ocean, which you could be like, that's a dolphin. But for me, seeing the credits and stuff, I'm like, that's a hippocampus. I also think it's going to be Rainbow, because I know there's a couple of pieces of the official merch that have hippocampi on it. Like, I know that they had a hippocampus on the chariot race armor, like the chest plate mail that the Cabin 3 kids wore. And then I think there's like a water bottle or something you can get that has a hippocampus. I'm like, if you're having a hippocampus on official merch
and also
in
the end credits,
Rainbow's coming up in this show.
The end credits are like my lore Bible for the season. So I will assert that that's all the evidence I need.
The end credits did not lie to us in season 1. I don't think they would lie to us in season 2.
Correct.
So we have another flashback with Annabeth and Thalia and Luke, and we've got the danger looming with the mimicking and everything. This might be where after this flashback, the bracelet throw, like, because then Annabeth does the bracelet throw, then they go down, then they're talking about the plan.
I thought Annabeth loses the bracelet the first time. She drops it. It's not intentional.
Yeah, she drops it for danger purposes.
Because then she freaks out. She's like, where's the bracelet? Where did it go?
Right. And then I don't remember if her throwing it into the ocean happens before or after Tyson does his playing with Rainbow. I think it was before.
I think it was before because it was she threw it, then they immediately show it washing back onto the boat. Then the next time we see it is Tyson playing with it.
Yeah. Then we have the Percy and Annabeth talking about the plan.
Which I will argue so far, best Percabeth scene in the entire series.
Take the stage. What about it?
We so often see, in the books at least, Percy looking to Annabeth as this beacon of answers. Percy being the one who feels like everything is out of control and he doesn't know what to do and that he's swimming through uncharted waters, essentially. Mm-hmm. And I really, really like that we see Annabeth kind of lose it.
Yeah.
And we see her completely freak out, and Percy is the well of answers for her. Mm-hmm. And those answers are, you're special. I knew it immediately.
Yeah.
And anyone who knows you knows that you are gonna be correct eventually. Mm-hmm. And I've been thinking a lot about Annabeth's fate is very intertwined with other people being the chosen one, and her fatal flaw is hubris. So she has an interesting perception of self, especially for someone whose best friend and future boyfriend is literally the chosen one, whose pseudo-sister is a possibility for the chosen one, whose weapon is the chosen weapon, but she herself isn't necessarily one of those fated things. And I think to have the chosen one be like, no, I know exactly how special you are, and I knew it immediately when we were bickering and fighting over literally everything. I think that's really cool.
It's really cool. And I had said in an earlier episode that I liked that they kind of got rid of the Annabeth not liking Cyclopes thing and replacing that with like the Percy. I do like it. Some people did make the point online where they were saying like, I kind of like that in the book because it showed that Annabeth isn't perfect. And then she eventually learned that she was in the wrong and she was being prejudiced.
Annabeth is imperfect. She doesn't necessarily need to be mean to be imperfect.
That's what I'm thinking. And maybe this, because I think that is like a valid point as well. But I think they're kind of having other reasons for Annabeth to not be like perfect in the sense of like she's got it all figured out. It's less of like a serious flaw, but in this one, and especially in the scene, like she's showing more regret, especially as they go back and forth with the flashbacks. I'm now realizing because she had like dropped the bracelet when they were leaving, and then they're all sleeping. Her sneaking off was to like try and get it because she was convinced when she was young that that bracelet was going to keep her safe. Because the conversation with Percy and Annabeth is Annabeth saying we're going to lose, just a question of how bad, and Percy says the plan is solid. Clarisse is talking to her men right now, and then Annabeth says doesn't matter. The best plan can be undone by the smallest mistake. That hideout I brought you to the last time I was there, I lost something I thought was important. I went back for it. So that also explains why she's not excited to see this bracelet, why she keeps throwing it into the water. It reminds her like, I snuck off and bad things happened because I did this.
I also think it reminds her of her absolute grief over dying sister and brother who killed her.
Yeah, brother who was a traitor and then also stabbed the tree. Yeah, totally.
Annabeth is experiencing a lot of grief and a lot of fear about prophecy and fate and the future. Mm-hmm. And as someone who is 6 steps ahead, she doesn't like that even 6 steps back, she doesn't know what she's doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So, yeah, she tells Percy that her foolish choice is what led to Thalia's fate. And now we're getting the full flashback. We get the Cyclops warehouse scene, which is very exciting.
Yep.
And I knew that this was going to come up in the show because I had heard this flashback was coming. I didn't know it was going to come this soon. So I was really stoked.
I had expected it to be later. But I also think because they're not doing the Annabeth very much does not like Cyclopes, it makes sense to do it sooner because there's no reason to be holding out on it.
100%.
And also because it is almost certain that her siren vision is going to be extended. And it's better to give time to this now. Episode 5 has a lot to cram in.
There's going to be a lot to do. It's funny. They've like cut out a bunch of things and they're still like, oh, they still have so much to do. I don't know what they're going to do for seasons 3, 4, and 5, but like, can we get 10 episode seasons? Because like,
I liked Arian's proposal of a 2-season Last Olympian.
Oh, I didn't see him suggest that.
Yeah, he said he wants to do it in 2 seasons so that every single thing can be adapted properly.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
I'm all for that.
I am. I don't know that they'll do it, but
I don't know if they'll do it. I'm all for that energy.
Yeah, look, they hate when stuff gets cut. I had conversations with Walker and Arian about how they get so upset when they get the scripts and stuff is cut from the book. And the producer had to be like, we can't film everything, guys. They certainly have those feelings. This flashback is extra crushing because it starts with Thalia being really sweet, basically saying, we're family, we take care of each other. If the safest place for you is this camp, we're going to go there even if we hate it. And it's so cute. It's so sweet. And it makes it extra crushing because you know what's going to happen. Then they are going along, and unfortunately, we've got, the mimicking, the Cyclops attacks is what leads to this conversation, like we're going to go to camp. But then, and Annabeth is like narrating over this in the present, they get there, and an interesting change, because, when the Cyclops thing, when they like get out of there, I was like, oh, like they've escaped from the Cyclopes and they have not yet gotten to Camp Half-Blood. What's going on? And then narrator Annabeth, as this flashback continues, says that the Furies are the ones that were like the people that they had to get away from.
Another thing from my rewatch, they foreshadowed that.
Oh, how so?
Alecto talked to Annabeth on the bus. She said, you're not that scared little girl anymore.
Oh, interesting. That's fun.
And she went, I wasn't that scared. And then they made a comment of like, oh, if Thalia had been better, then she wouldn't be a tree right now.
Oh.
Which again, rewatching season 1, episodes 3 and 4, especially after episodes 3 and 4 of season 2, was a great choice.
Oh, man. Whew. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what they do with this choice and like why they did it. I wonder if it's just because the main reason that it was Cyclopes in book 2 was to justify why Annabeth hates the Cyclopes. I kind of like the Furies of it all because that makes it feel more like Hades' revenge. Like he's upset at Thalia specifically, like as being a child of Zeus. Like I wonder if it'll come into play in season 4 or whenever we learn about the Nico D'Angelo and Bianca backstory. Like I wonder
that might be 5. Isn't that when Nico goes to the underworld to talk to Hades? And
yeah, that's 5. It could come up like that's why. But this is one of those things where I was like, oh, it's the Furies. I'm going to just earmark this as very intriguing and I wonder what it's going to do. Like, it's different, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, but I had totally forgotten until my rewatch a couple days ago that they did plant that seed in season 1 of the Furies having encountered Annabeth at least once when she was young.
That's good. I'm glad you picked up on that. So this is where Annabeth is now kind of explaining more to Percy why she's worried about him because, Thalia had a target on her back. Percy's got a target on his back. He's also a forbidden child. He could be
Which
part
also
of the
goes back
prophecy.
to the train conversation in season 1, episode 4
Yup.
of the what was Thalia like? Did she have to deal with all the same kind of stuff that I did? Again, another conversation from episode 4 of season 1 that hits so different after season 2.
Yeah. And then this is where we get the really good quote from Annabeth where she is, being very open and honest with Percy, which is good because I feel like they were very open and honest with each other, like on the boats in book 2. So she says to Percy, I want to believe that if I can just think 6 steps ahead, I can save you, but it's never going to be the big impossible choice that I have to outthink. It's all the million little choices I can't see, the human choices, like doubling back for a cheap piece of plastic or sacrificing yourself for a kid you barely know. And Percy says, she knew you better than that. And Annabeth replies 2 months. And I screamed at my TV, like, don't let Luke get to you. Like, because he had that little comment. And then Percy one-ups me by saying an even better line. It only took me 2 days to see how special you are. That's some good stuff.
It's one of my favorite pieces of writing in the whole series so far. Like, it hit something in me. I was like, this is perfect, incredible, amazing, wonderful. And if this is the pre-Percabeth stuff, like, what do we have in store in the labyrinth?
Gonna be good. So Percy says, maybe we can't outsmart fate. Maybe all we can do is the right thing and hope for the best, which I really appreciate as a particular kind of mantra. Like sometimes you can't make the perfect choice. You got to make the best choice. This is something that I try to do whenever I like make a choice and something bad happens after, or it's like not ideal. I try to view things as, did you make the best choice at that time with all the information you had? Even if it was quote unquote wrong, like you did the best at that moment. You can't predict the future. So like, that's all you can do.
It harkens back to the whole thing in the prophecy of the demigod in the prophecy is going to make one single choice that will destroy or save Olympus, and how in the books, then every time Percy encounters something that's a choice, he's either like, is this it? Or if I can't handle this, how do I handle the big one? Which I think is really interesting to have that out loud because that was something very internal in the books.
Yeah, I like how open and honest they're being with each other. I think it's true to the character's form. I like it being here in the show. So now we get the Percy and Clarisse scene where the most important part...
I loved this scene.
It was a great scene. The most important part is that Percy Jackson is making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He takes out the ingredients. He opens the jar of peanut butter with a knife. It's like one of those like old school kind of things. He opens up a jar with a knife and then starts spreading that on the bread. And then he gets the jelly and he gets a spoon. And scoops it out, puts it on quite poorly, spreads it quite poorly because it's a spoon and not a knife.
That's how I learned to spread jelly.
Okay, look, it's wrong. I could see it working with like preserves because they're like more smushable, but like jelly, you need a knife. So I will post this like in its entirety on the Monday bonus episode. But the first question when I got to Walker in the junk is I was like, what's going on? Like, was this supposed to be, it's Percy's first time making a sandwich, so he has no idea what he's doing? Like, was this an intentional choice? Did they make you do this? Or is this how you make sandwiches? And Walker was like, that's how I make sandwiches. So like he said it's the Walker method. He did it. He had his reasons, but both Daniel and Leah, who were in the room as well, were like giving me the eyes of like, I agree with you. It's wild that he did this.
Oh, it's incredible.
Ridiculous stuff.
I'm a big fan of this scene in general. I think it's a great addition.
It's a great scene.
And I think it's going to make, presumably, if it happens, Percy overhearing the Ares Clarisse stuff soon, which it is possible that Percy's not going to overhear it because we don't need it to be from his perspective in order to see it.
Sure.
If he does overhear it, I think this has great implications for that scene. And that is a scene that I know Dior was very excited about and that a lot of fans are really excited about. And she had told me in the interview I did with her back in season 1, she's like, if anyone can do that dynamic right, it's these writers. And I'm just really excited for that. And this whole scene just bodes really well.
Yeah. I'm glad that they're still getting... Again, it's like the core, right? The core is that Percy and Clarisse like see a little more eye to eye than we would think. And it's really nice. Clarisse has chosen the Scylla plan, which is a tough choice for her. She's clearly affected by this. And we see her, presenting this to the crew. And this crew is like ready to do whatever it takes for her. Now, obviously, they don't know exactly what they're signing up for, but she mentions...
And they also think they're going to Elysium if they die anyway, so.
Right. So they're like all in, and it's just crushing. And Dior's doing a great job. You can see it on her face. It's
She
just so tough.
acted the heck out of this episode.
Yeah, she really did. They have that thing where like they pick the volunteers. Then the peanut butter and jelly scenes happen, and Clarisse asks Percy how he did it, how he survived the quest. And Percy says he would have not made it without his friends. And she says that she just wants to make her dad proud. And he understands, like, all of us demigods are trying to impress our parents, even if we don't know it. Like, that's why we're doing it. And then she explains that she didn't go home at the end of summer. Like, she was at camp, and she has this line where she like trails off saying, like, if she doesn't get the fleece, like, clearly she's really putting the pressure on herself for this quest.
And there's the Aries bit of the, if you don't succeed, you know what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really fun stuff. So there is a quote here where she tells Percy that they're not friends, but I'm like, they're going to be friends. They're going to be. They're going to get there. Like, They are just both too proud to admit it. Clarisse more so than Percy. Like, Percy would admit it first, but like, yeah, it's great. So now we've got the Scylla and Charybdis scene. We get the hype up message to the crew.
Every single person who had teased that episode 4 was cinematic, yes.
This is where it is.
Yeah. This show has a budget, and it shows, and I'm so happy to see it.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to see it used so well and so, like, entertainingly.
Right.
They did it so well.
It looks great. It's obviously like the first heavy usage of CGI this season. There really has not been too much CGI this season so far, which I think is great. But like, clearly they put all their eggs into the make this scene look good, because it looks great. It looks fantastic.
It looks really good.
Yeah. Very convincing stuff, which can not look good when you have to do big tentacle arms and giant whirlpools and magical beasts and stuff. And they made it look really, really solid. And clearly they just had the whole team be like, make this scene look good. We'll use practical effects as much as we can and everything else so that you don't have to worry about it. Everybody focus on this. All hands on deck. And they knocked it out of the park. Yeah, it really does show.
It bodes well for future seasons that they've shown if they have the budget to do something really cool like this, they're going to be really good at it. And that investing in that, especially as we look ahead to even bigger battles and even how the labyrinth might look.
I also found it interesting that it was effectively shot like a horror movie.
Yes!
Because we've got our demigods inside, safe, you know, like the wheel, they're indoors. And then you've got the 6 sacrifices outside. And there's like a drop in the music. It's quiet. The creaking.
Clarisse takes the wheel and just yanks it.
Yeah, they start getting yanked, and the lead dude basically recognizes that they're sacrifices and just like looks, you know, daggers into Clarisse. Not like angry daggers, but like, how could you kind of look? And it really gets to her, and then she changes course, which is the worst thing to do because now you're going to get the worst of both of the two monsters, and she wants to fight them.
Instead of choosing one, you've chosen both.
Yeah, so she goes towards Charybdis, and it's just tough stuff. Then she has the quote where she says, heroes slay monsters, they don't run from them. And it's like, yeah, that is cool. However, you've done the worst possible way of this. And it's one of those things where the viewer should understand, you know, yes, this is like quote unquote the wrong thing or the foolish thing to do, but it is the exact on brand, on character, especially 100%. For all the things that we have set up with how she's conflicted about this choice. Like, absolutely. It is the wrong choice, but it is the correct choice that Clarisse would do in this scene, given all of the setup of this season so far.
It's the in-character choice.
100%. So I was sad at it happening, but, you know, recognizing like they set this up perfectly. Like, the payoff is there. Like, they really did it. So then Percy is like, all right, fine, let's roll with it. Very Percy, like, gets on the deck, starts doing his little like surfing thing, controlling the water. He is trying to control the tide, and Annabeth is going to try and control the thermos. Like, they're still going to try to work together to make this happen. And then, unfortunately, the thermos gets dropped. Is it Percy or Annabeth who drops it like into the hole and it goes down into Tyson? Because Percy had sent Tyson.
It's Annabeth, because Clarisse then like grabs Annabeth.
Yes, which is awesome. But yeah, so they send Tyson down to like power up the engines.
And Tyson's final words to Percy are yes brother. Which I wrote, Percy. That's totally not going to haunt him forever, even after he learns that Tyson's still alive.
Percy's going to not enjoy that. So yeah, he's down there trying to make the engines go faster. And then Annabeth I think she's like hit by something. Like she gets hit by either a wave or an arm or whatever.
Yeah.
And the thermos goes flying and sputtering out into the engine room and it's like blowing up. And yes, Clarisse has the thing where she saves Annabeth, which is awesome.
The Clarisse-Annabeth friendship was not something I expected to see this season.
Yeah.
And it has been just such a welcome surprise.
It's been really good. It's been really good. So then like the wind thing is so intense. And this is again one of those things that's fun for me to watch because this isn't how it goes down, right? In the book?
I don't think it is
because like they get shot into the air, but it's like I think Percy in the book just gets yoinked by Charybdis.
Yes.
And then the boat blows up
because then they wash up. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like up in the air.
Then they wash
the boat
up on
blows up.
Cersei's island.
The water like saves their fall, but like they're just like flying because of that.
Yeah.
So for the thermos to be the thing, like it was a cool change, especially because you get the extra gut punch, and it's a fun thing where like it's fun that Percy's going to feel even more guilty. Like I feel bad saying it.
And also it's Annabeth realizing she missed a factor.
Yeah, like they're both going to be really torn up about this. And, you know, we know that he's going to be okay. But like the way it was shot too, where like everything just like rises into the air and the boat effectively disintegrates, it made me watching this go like, oh, Hermes wasn't kidding when he said like, bye-bye, if the full thing opens. Like he was not sugarcoating it. Like he was correct. And it's really dramatically shot and like the music is really emotional and just like such a
And I'm also going to go back to the credits art of the way they demonstrate the winds in the credits is like the gale physically blowing. And I remember watching that in the first episode in the credits. And I was like, what is that? Like, what's that referencing? And then the thermos came up and I was like, oh.
That's really good. Wow, I didn't think about that. I was too caught up on how they have a whirlpool and then teeth come out of the whirlpool because of Charybdis, or because of Scylla, which is really...
That's also when Dior Goodjohn's name shows up in the credits.
Yeah, Charybdis is whirlpool, Scylla is Yankee tentacles. Yeah, if I got that wrong at any point in the episode, know that I know it, but I always mess up the names because you always say them as Scylla and Charybdis. Yes. Like you always say it that way. But yeah, so then that's where the episode ends in just like this, oh crap, where we at moment. And then I did watch the next time on because this was the last of my screener, so I was genuinely curious about what's going to happen. I don't just get to watch it.
And I really was hoping they'd show the Cersei looks, and they did. And also those released with the second half trailer this week.
Yes. So I would recommend, if people haven't watched it, do it. But it's really good stuff. And so was this episode. It was fantastic. And so was this episode of TNO. Jillian, thank you so much for joining. This was an absolute delight.
Thank you.
If you want to find you doing stuff, where can they find you doing stuff?
The best place to find me is on Twitter, Gillian Blum, Gillian with a G, all one word. And Instagram, it's Gillian.Blum.
Great. Awesome.
I write for thedirect.com. That's where you can find my Percy Jackson stuff. And I'm probably promoting some other thing that I'm also working on any social media at any given point. Do
it. Jillian's a great follow. Jillian's a great person. I hope you have a good time at your red carpet interview event.
I'm very excited.
I look forward to talking to you about more things, even if it's just us all caps messaging on the side once we get to see the future episodes.
I told you about the thing I had in episode 2 with the Chiron line, and I was like, I bet Mike is laughing just as hard as I am right now.
I really appreciated you sending me a screenshot of your notes. I felt honored, but yes, I laughed so hard at that. I can't lie to him. Chiron says nothing. Yeah, because you lie to him all the time and you love it. But yes, this was a delight. Jillian, thank you. Listeners, thank you for listening. And until next time, as we figure out what's going on Cersei's Island with the sirens, I'll see you later. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of The Newest Olympian. This podcast is created, hosted, and produced by me, Mike Schubert. I also run the social media and the website. Our editor is Sherry Guo. The music is by Bettina Campamanes and Brendan Krugel, and the art is by Jessica E. Boyd. If you can't get enough of the show, you can go to thenewestolympian.com/Patreon for bonus episodes, bonus content, ad-free episodes, a whole bunch of fun stuff. If you want to interact with the community around the show, you can check out the Discord, which is available to all patrons, or we're on social media. We're at Newest Olympian on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Twitter. And we've got a subreddit, reddit.com/r/thenewestolympian. You can also show your love for TNO by getting TNO merch at thenewestolympian.com/merch. Of course, want to give a huge shout out to our producer level patrons, Kelsey Gillespie, Vicky Garcia, Frida Vikstrom, Megan Moon, Polly Burge, Nikki Harris, Tatiana Schmidt, Sandra Rose, Josh Sayer, Sam Ruby, Mrs. O'Leary, Milo Kim, Sandkopf, Rayla Matthews, Sky Mallory, Mick Walters, Grace, Ginger Spursboy, Bradimus Prime, Skylar Sisters, Scott Sheldon, Ann M. Thayer Cohen, Bella, Percy Jack's Son, Kit Kat Crumbs, Jim Jam Koopy, Andrea, not Andrea, Jordan Ray, Nico's Black, Vespa, Zayden Wintergate, Terry Rothfuss, and certified Ghost King's emotional support friend. If you want to support the show in a non-monetary way, word of mouth is essential for podcast growth. You can tell a friend directly, say, hey, there's this Percy Jackson podcast I think you would like, check it out. You could leave a rating and review on whatever podcasting app you're using, or you could just talk about the show on social media. All these things really do help. I really appreciate anyone who has done so in the past, and I appreciate anyone who will do so in the future. But I'm just so thankful that you tuned into this episode, and I hope you tune into our next episode after we post a bonus episode of interviews. But the next full episode, I'll be joined by the duo from Seaweed Brain to break down season 2, episode 5 of the TV show. But until then, I'll see you later. Hey everyone, how's it going? It's me, ASMR Mike. So while I was recording this ASMR Mike segment, Kelly came into the room and didn't know I was recording mid-roll break stuff, and we had this interchange, is that? Yeah, sure. This exchange, this conversation, whatever this thing is, you'll hear what transpired when she came in. Hi, I'm just recording a little mid-roll break, but It's okay. It's just the mid-roll break. I'm almost done with it, but you can...
We got laundry.
Oh, I folded right here.
Oh, perfect. Oh, I'll just...
Yeah, no worries. I just figured I would do this now while you were watching Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Bye. See you soon. She was watching the Taylor Swift documentary with her mom. Fun, wholesome stuff. Thank you so much for listening.